And now Gukesh goes for c4, attacking the d5 pawn. And let's suppose if d takes c4, bishop takes c4, and now comes e4, attacking this knight. And after this knight goes back to d2, e takes d3, bishop takes d3, bishop to e5, and now you can see this queen is targeting this bishop, and at the same time this dark square bishop is also eyeing the b2 pawn. So the only defensive move is queen to c2, and after that simply h6, attacking this bishop. And if bishop takes f6, queen takes f6, and if you decide to attack this queen by knight to e4, queen to e7, and at the end you can see black is clearly better here because his pieces are active and well coordinated, while white pieces look awkward and undeveloped. Both bishops are placed on a long diagonal, creating strong pressure, and in the next move, black is simply going to play rook to c8 to take full control over the c file. Okay, so in the actual game, after the move c4, Matthias simply pushed this pawn further. And now Gukesh decides to develop his knight, but guys, instead of this move, here white can also consider this amazing move c5, giving up this c pawn as well as asking for bishop exchange. And here comes two conditions. Let's suppose if black decides to capture on c5 by bishop takes c5, bishop takes e6, f takes e6, and finally knight takes e5, and you can see by all of this white gets a strong outpost for this knight. Let me go back to this move, and let's suppose if black decides to exchange the bishops by bishop takes b3, queen takes b3, and now white is threatening to capture this bishop as well as targeting on the b7. So that's why if let's suppose bishop takes c5, bishop takes f6, queen takes f6, queen takes b7, attacking this rook. So that's why knight to c6, and finally rook to c1, and you can see white successfully gets the c file, whereas this queen is also active on b7. Okay, so in the actual game, after knight at b goes to d2, and now rook to e1, eyeing on this e5 pawn. So basically here black goes for bishop to f5, attacking the d3 pawn and forcing white to take care of the basically take care of his own center before even thinking about starting an attack. But guys, instead of defending this pawn, here white can consider this amazing move bishop to a4, attacking this knight. And if bishop takes d3, simply bishop takes d7, and obviously you cannot recapture with the knight, so that's why after queen takes d7. And guys, now it's better for white to capture on e5 because after knight takes e5, bishop takes e5, rook takes e5, and then he can consider capturing this knight so that he can destroy the pawn structure of the king side. But after the move, let me go back. Yes, so after this move, let's suppose if he directly goes for bishop takes f6, that will be a mistake. But why? Because after g takes f6, white has this light square bishop which can anytime come back to g6, so that he can defend the king side structure. So to stop that idea, let's suppose if knight to e4, bishop takes e4, rook takes e4, and if you are hoping to somehow place this rook on the g file in the future, but it's simply not possible due to this amazing move f5, and you can see black successfully covers the g4 square. But what about the move rook to h4 with the idea of knight to g5 so that he can target on h7? But guys, what about f6? And you can see black successfully covers the g5 square, and now there is no way for white to attack. This position is better for black because he completely takes control over the center and is even threatening a move like e4 in future. Okay, so in the actual game, after bishop to f5, yup, here Gukesh goes for knight to e4, which is a slight inaccuracy because after bishop takes e4, recapturing with the pawn will be obviously a bad idea because this opens the d file for this passer. So that's why after bishop takes e4, uh, Gukesh recaptures with the rook, and obviously black cannot capture this rook due to this spin. And since black is now threatening knight to c5, so that's why. And guys, now Matthias played an amazing move a5. And the special thing about this move is that it prevents white from pushing b4. And by this, you can see now black gets the c5 outpost for this knight. Okay, so now Gukesh pushed b3, and guys, that a prophylactic move. For those who don't know, a prophylactic move means a move played not to do something immediately, but to stop your opponent from doing something in the future. In simple words, you didn't attack, you didn't develop, you just removed their idea. Okay, so instead of b3, the move, let me go back, the move knight to e4 might be the better option, which attacks this queen as well as asking for knight exchange. And if knight takes e4, rook takes e4, and in the next move, white can bring this rook to the c file, and you can see now both white rooks are participating in the game. Moreover, white also removes the dangerous knight from c5. Okay, so after the move b3, he goes for queen to d6. And basically he creates a very strong position, and now black is threatening to push e4, which would open a discover attack on h2. At the same time, black also can start rolling these kingside pawns. So to stop this, queen to h5, but Matthias goes according to his plan. He strikes with f5 so that he can push f4, grabbing as much space as possible. And now rook at a goes to d1, and that's a pure defensive move. He's basically guarding this pawn so that he can go for knight to f3. And now this knight on f3 was tied to the defense of the king's side. And now queen to f6, threatening to push f4. So to stop this, Gukesh must consider the move d3, but instead he goes for a3. He basically wants to push b4 so that he can attack this knight, but knight to e6. And now he also brings this knight into the game, preparing for knight to f4. And here knight to d2 was played by Gukesh, and he basically opens the diagonal for this queen if black attacks this queen. And now rook to f7, preparing for this triple battery. But guys, let me go back to the move queen to f3. Here black can also consider the move bishop takes a3. And because if queen takes b7, now comes knight to c5, attacking this queen. And if white gives a check, simply king to h8. And in the next move, black is going to push e4. And you can see this amazing battery of the queen and rook directly eyeing the f file. Okay, so after rook to f7, c5. Here Gukesh sacrificed a pawn so that he can open the c file for the rook. And guys, since black is creating much pressure, so that's why here white must consider the move queen to d5, so that he can create some pressure over the central e5 pawn. And let's suppose if black captured on a3 by bishop takes a3, queen takes a5, attacking this bishop. So if bishop to d6, b4, and now you can see white can also start supporting this passer. Although black is still winning due to this strong position, but it can be holdable for white if black makes any mistake. But guys, after the move bishop takes c5, Gukesh missed that move and he goes for knight to c4. And yes, he is creating pressure over the e5 pawn, but the problem with that move is now black instantly goes for e4, attacking this queen. Okay guys, here black cannot exchange the queens, because let's suppose if you decides to exchange the queen, that will be a mistake, because after takes, rook takes e1 check, rook takes e1, and now you can see white is successful in neutralizing the black attack. And at the same time, white now has a passer on the f file, and you can see white is better. So that's why after queen takes a5, simply he denies this by queen to e7. Okay, so now d3 by Matthias, and guys, that's a very strong move. Black is now attacking this bishop as well as threatening bishop takes f2 check, supported by the rook. And guys, if white tries to defend on f2 by rook to d2, that will be a huge mistake, because of rook takes f2, rook takes f2, and simply you can see this rook now can't move due to the pin. D takes c2. And let's suppose if he tries to attack this pawn by rook to c1, knight takes e4, and yup, that's all. So that's why after seeing this, he basically goes for Okay, so now h4 by Gukesh, but guys, he must consider the move h3 so that he can keep an eye over the g4 square, because in this position Matthias sacrificed his knight by queen to e5, and basically we are doing this basically he's doing this so that he can open the h file. And if h takes g5, let me show you. H takes g5 and you can see what's coming next. Okay, so after queen to e5, here Gukesh goes for rook to g1, and in this position the final move by Matthias is queen to g3, and here Gukesh resigned, because as we all discussed that white cannot capture this knight, so that's why let's suppose if he tries to attack this rook by e5. But guys, in this position black can consider this another beautiful sacrifice, knight to f3, threatening mate in one. And to stop this, if white captured the knight, then simply queen to h3 will be a checkmate. What an amazing game by Matthias Bluebaum. Like this video and I will see you in the next one. This is your host Bison signing off. Bye bye.